the 22nd World Congress of IOD, I would like to extend my heartiest felicitations and greetings to all of you. I have the pleasure of opening the deliberations for all of you today and tomorrow in the emerging hub of industrial growth that is Bangalore. I have now, in the finest Indian tradition, I'll request Honorable Justice Venkatachalaya to please light the lamp. I now request Lieutenant General J.S. Ahluwalia, PVSM, and President, Institute of Directors, to please deliver his welcome address. Lieutenant General Ahluwalia, please.
The theme of the Congress, as has been mentioned, is total quality, because quality you require in everything, and total quality means quality in every area, whatever it be. It is not just quality of product and service, but quality of your boardroom functioning, quality of everything that we are doing. So that way the total quality comes in everything, the catalyst for ethical business and sustainability. And it is very apt and timely, as Ashok Kapoor brought out, being held at a very challenging time in the midst of Anna Hazare's national movement for both anti-corruption and good governance. So that way it's at a very apt time to really have it. IOD is, just to brief some, there are few new people here, an independent, not-for-profit network of directors. It is committed to making a difference by creating a silent revolution through the boardroom for a just, equitable and sustainable world. IOD is one of the most exciting networks one could really belong to. IOD has spread its wings across the globe and at all vital corporate touchpoints. This conference has been organized to devise a blueprint for action on integrity and business ethics, to create a mass movement on change in thinking. Winners don't do different things, they do things differently. And wish you all a very useful convention. Thank you.
I have pleasure now in inviting Honorable Justice M.N. Venkatachalaya, Chairman IOD Advisory Council and former Chief Justice of India, to kindly deliver his address.
10 years from now, society will be totally different from the one we live in. The pace of science, the pace of technology, and their effect on the economy and the social order will be so marked that humanity will flounder in handling matters that arise out of the interface between pace of science on one hand and society and its known standards of morals on the other. Many products will become obsolete. New sources of energy will come in. The changes will be so rapid that one has to be so creative in inventing and developing responses to the challenges of the change. Even if you apply time-tested methods, it will not guarantee success. But one business manager said, if you don't do it, it will guarantee failure. The whole problem is the Homo economicus dominates the spirit of the Homo sapien. This dilemma has to be resolved, and I'm sure you will do it brilliantly and earn the gratitude of humanity. Thank you very much.
I have now pleasure of requesting Dr. Ola Ullsten, the former Prime Minister of Sweden and co-chairman of the World Commission on Forests and Development, Sustainable Development, to please deliver his presidential address. Dr. Ola Ullsten, please.
Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, what is sustainability? Sustainability is not a state of affairs or a goal reached in some kind of competition. It's an ever ongoing process. It's about ecology and economy and how the two relate. I think it would be leading to sustainability if students in economics should be taught to pay as much attention to how to nurture the financial capital, the natural capital, as when they talk about financial capital. Ministers of finance must pay as much attention to ecological database as they do to the ups and downs in the financial market. We are still living in a dual crisis of economy and ecology. On the ecological side, it's not only about climate change, it's about a series of environmental ills. On the economic side, we don't need a full-blown recession to call it a crisis. Now it seems like we are in fact talking about the transformative change in which business should take an active part. And that change will come, and I think business should be in the forefront of making it come about. Thank you very much.
Now I have pleasure in inviting Mr. T.V. Mohandas Pai. He is the chairman of Manipal Global Education Services and former director HR and chief financial officer in Infosys.
The global financial crisis has exposed the weaknesses in corporate organizations around the world. It has brought down everybody to ground reality to understand how business is run and how business impacts the globe. There was a time when one company ruled a fair part of the world. And today corporate organizations have come to a stage when they indeed rule the economic conditions around the world, and they also manage to control governments. They fund political parties, they make sure right policies are done for them, and they're in a position to destroy the well-being of 7 billion people on this planet. During the global financial crisis, we found the financial sector, a sector built upon the real economy, becoming predominant. Just before the global financial crisis, 40% of corporate profits in America were earned by the financial sector, an incredibly high percentage. And finance is an enabler. It is not the mainstream business. The mainstream business comes from other areas. And this happened because of the last 15 years, globally, regulations were relaxed. The risk in the system was enhanced because nobody understands global risk. Commodities are traded in markets. Commodities that you buy, oil, food grains, copper, are traded more by hedge funds, by investors, than consumed by corporate organizations. And these hedge funds determine commodity prices and the lives of millions of people on the planet. So we need better regulation, better enforcement of regulations. I would say better enforcement rather than regulations. Eternal vigilance is the price of liberty. You taught us this, Chief Justice. Colleges, you taught us. Eternal vigilance. And if shareholders want corporate organization to do well, and we as citizens want corporate organization to do well, then eternal vigilance is required. People in this room, people on this dais have to stand up for the truth, have to stand up and talk, have to analyze, have to point out what is wrong, have to be the mirror to the rest of the country. And the mirror has to expose everybody else. Thank you very much.
Brought to you by IOD, building tomorrow's boards.
M-commerce can be used by the insurance industry for greater penetration, cost effectiveness and payment convenience. HSBC presents next-gen financial services automation in commerce insurance services.
In a country like India where banking is still growing up, it's important that payment infrastructure is well coordinated.
A panel discussion on utilizing M-commerce to increase the outreach of insurance services. Only on ET Now.
Brought to you by HSBC, best domestic cash management bank in India.
Good morning, Rahul.
Morning.
आप fit हैं, but is your mouth healthy?
Yes, of course.
Healthy mouth germ buildup से free होता है. Let's check. ये है germ buildup.
But I just brushed. Now,
ट्राई न्यू कोलगेट टोटल। ये जर्म बिल्डअप को 90% तक कम करता है और लगातार 12 घंटे काम करता है। कोलगेट टोटल से ब्रश कर रहे हो?
Yes, every day.
Now your mouth looks healthy.
Wow, much less germs. Now my mouth is as healthy as I am.
Colgate Total, 12-hour protection for a healthy mouth.
Well, a very good evening to all of you, ladies and gentlemen. It's my pleasure to be your moderator for this evening's panel discussion, which is really on realigning the moral compass of the boardroom. And I think when we start, it would be just so wonderful to have a sort of Alice in Wonderland kind of existence where you had just two colors in the corporate world, and those would be black and white, which would be wrong and right. But unfortunately, the world doesn't quite work like that, and there are huge shades of grey in between that we have to traverse, and that's where all those convenient/inconvenient questions come up, the likes of whether the top management deserve or really require that jet plane, or whether the subsidiary companies of a parent company need those friendly loans, or whether the valuation of a takeover target is too high or is it too low, or whether it would be indeed fair to have option allocation for the promoters. These are but few of the questions that really pose not just our boardrooms but our entire corporate world. Let me introduce my panel to take this discussion forward and see what it is that needs to be realigned in our corporate boardrooms. So let me start with Mr. M.G. George Mathut, who is the chairman of Mathut Group. We have Mrs. Hema Ravichandran, who is the independent director of Marico and Titan Industries. We have the Right Honourable Baroness Sandeep Verma, who is the Minister for Education in the UK. We have Mr. Ravi Chaudhary, Chairman, CNext Consulting and Investments. And we have Mr. N.R. Mohanty, who's Chairman and Managing Director of Textron India. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this panel discussion. The first question of really, at this point, really is, if you had to say what is wrong with the Indian corporate boardroom, what would it be? Mr. Mathut, let's start from you.
Yes. First of all, an independent director has to be independent. He should not be moving this side or that side with the management or with the board of directors. First of all, they have to be given an education what they have to do also. Probably many of the independent directors get into a board without knowing what exactly their job is. So they do not go into the things. There are things which they should know and they should not. They should ask, they should not ask. For example, basic things, strategies of the company and main policies of the company. These are all forgotten and they are sitting in the board just for the namesake. That's the problem, according to me.
I'll come to you, Hema. And the question really, as we said, is the directors, independent directors, need to know what they're doing. So by default, does that automatically assume that directors at this point of time don't know what they're doing?
Kamini, let me step back a little bit. And, to your first question, what are some of the challenges that we are seeing today in the boardroom? If you look at independent directors, I think there are 4 broad areas that they need to contribute in. First is the strategy of the organization. So whether it's long-term, short-term,